Merry Meet Scorpio, Scorpio sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. This is a 2-week reading for all you Scorpios, and it's starting today, the 16th of August, 2023. If you're watching us on a restream on YouTube and you don't want to watch me shuffle, you can use the timestamps right in the video description to get right to the reading. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Suzanne, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Diane. Thank you so much, Suzanne and Diane, and thank you to all of you Scorpios and friends of Scorpios for joining us for this 2-week reading. Today I'm reading with the Spanish Tarot, the ancient Spanish Tarot, and I've already purified with this Verbena by Cosmo Mazzi. You can find out information on how to purchase each of these products in the video description of this very video on my YouTube channel. 2-week reading for all you Scorpios. This is going out to a lot of Scorpios, so if for some reason it doesn't seem to hit right or make any sense to you, maybe it doesn't apply to you, don't force things. It's probably not even meant for you in that case. But if that's the case, check out the zodiacal readings for your other signs. You can check out the daily readings for all signs, which are every day but Monday, or remember that we also have a weekly pick-a-card reading for all signs that comes out on the Sunday evening of each week. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure you follow us. And you can watch on Twitch without ads when you subscribe to us. I do not read with card reversals, and I just mentioned that in case you're taken aback. I always turn cards right side up. It's how I prefer to read these days. If you'd like to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/ArielGatoga. paypal.me/ArielGatoga. If you're watching live on YouTube, you could use a super sticker or super chat. If you're on a restream on YouTube, you could use a super thanks. We have a shop at arielscornershop.com. arielscornershop.com. We have all kinds of merchandise, and all the different tarot decks that I read with that are still in print are all listed there. That's an affiliate store, which means that we make a small commission off of each and every sale. We don't actually sell anything. We just have affiliate links. All right, Scorpio, I think we are pretty darn shuffled. So let's do one more just for good measure. And we'll give this deck a nice clean cut and see what's in the cards for you gorgeous Scorpios. All right. Hello, gorgeous. We've got the Emperor, the King of Swords, wouldn't you know, and the Page of Wands. Okay, you're the boss, Scorpio. Remind yourself that I'm the boss. This is my empire, my life, my empire. I know what I'm doing. I'm the boss. I get to decide. I get to choose. I get to be, do, and have what I want to be, do, and have. And it's my right to find what I need to find in order to live the best life I can live. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't need to trespass on anybody. I don't need to do anything other than live my life in the best way that I can, right? Unfortunately, not everybody wants to support us in doing that. Sometimes we have people in our lives that seem to just kind of come up against us. And that's just this world. This world is awful that way. People just don't want anybody to be happy. Sometimes people just really want to get involved where they don't belong, And it's just always going to be that way, Scorpio. It's always going to be that way. And what your job is to let it go. To let it go and not let it, because you're the emperor in your life. You have the power to not let it affect you and to do what you need to do in order to protect yourself, but at the same time let it go and not obsess about it, not hang on to it, not hold grudges, because then what it becomes is that's your empire. Instead of being this big emperor of your life, then now you are as this measly king of swords. And the only thing that you have power over is your resentments. And that's your only power, is holding on to resentments and grievances, digging your heels in and thinking about how bad they are, right? And, the ego is pretty sly because it loves to use the King of Swords to keep you distracted from your empire. And so you may get to the point where you're so spiritually uplifted, which you tend to be, and say, well, I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna hold grievances against them. Now that I think of it, it's me that's just so awful. Don't fall for that. It's neither one is correct. They are two flip sides of the same coin, two sides of the same error. So what we want to do about this King of Swords is what? Disregard it. That's the only thing that your ego mind cannot stand up against. It can't. There's nothing it can do. There's no way to defend against you disregarding it. It cannot defend against your disregard, because the only power the ego has is the power of you participating in it, because the ego is nothing more than what? A habit. It's a habit of thinking. And so once you say, no, I'm not going to do that, and you just step out of that and you disregard it, the ego has to shut up. It has no power, right? Because you're the one that it has to have power through. It's like a parasite. So now this page of Wands is talking about good news and information in regards to your work in the world. But see, the thing is you see how the king is looking at the page, and the page is unaware of the king. The emperor is unaware of the king. The emperor is unaware of the page. These two powerful parts of you, the emperor and the page of wands, are not aware of one another, because this guy is trying to instead of disregarding the king of swords, it's trying to pretend like it's not there. It's trying to live in the past. And then this one here is trying to go into the future, but at the same time doesn't realize that it's being chased after by the king of swords. What all that means is that unless you actually take a moment, look at that king of swords, look at those resentments, look at those grievances, look at those things that you're holding on to, and disregard them purposefully. So disregard versus ignore, right? To pretend like something's not there isn't the same thing as disregarding it. You have to look at something and then decide against it. Because if you don't look at it, it has the power to chase you down, right? If you don't look at it, then it has the power to put your power in the past rather than in the present. That's exactly what the Course in Miracles defines the word hell. Hell is what the ego makes of the present moment. That's its definition of the word hell. And I love that. Hell is what the ego makes of the present moment. And that's exactly what you've got going on right now, is this ego trying to usurp your authority, because the present moment doesn't belong to your ego. The present moment belongs to you. So, let's just open this up before I say anything more. Yeah, here we go. So, active the name of the game over these next 2 weeks so that you can keep your power right where you want it, because you're doing great, by the way. And so when you're doing great, that's when this King of Swords tends to want to come up so that it can try to dismantle everything that's going well. What you do is you actively disengage. You take a moment to acknowledge what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what's going on, either within yourself or in an interaction with another, and you purposefully and actively unhook yourself from the situation and then disregard it. This is the card of disengagement. Sometimes, what I always like to say this when this card comes up, just because for now the advice is to disengage from conflict, that doesn't mean that it's always going to be the case that it's appropriate to disengage with conflict. Sometimes you have to take things head on, but not now. Not now. This is not the time for you to get into it with anybody or with yourself. But you do want to look at it. So when you're feeling those feelings of grievance, when you're feeling those feelings of upset, when you're really wanting to dig your heels in and have judgment against yourself or another person, you don't want to pretend like it's not there, because that gives it more power. That's not disregarding in the way that we're talking about it. You want to look at it, you want to name it, and then you want to pull yourself out of it. So you can even say something like, I'm having a King of Swords moment and I am now disengaging from it. Something simple like that. I am now actively disengaging from my grievance. I am now actively disengaging from this argument, whatever it happens to be. And that way, you're giving yourself a moment to acknowledge what's happening and purposefully, this is a magical act, unhooking yourself from the situation and then disregarding it. Pretending like it's not even there. But you don't want to go right to the pretending it's not there without acknowledging it, because then you're just stuffing it. There's a subtle but very powerful difference between the two. Now, here we've got this 2 of Wands right on top of this page. Be careful that your impatience does not get the better of you in regards to whatever this is referring to in your life. It's, for most people, it's some sort of job, career, creative work, some kind of work in the world. There's good news, there's good information, but it's in the baby stages. And sometimes things take time to mature. And you don't want to start being impatient with things, Scorpio, because what that does is it sometimes tends to prohibit their growth. And you don't want to prohibit the growth of this, because this is like I said, this is in the baby stages. There's something good going on in your work or in your creative work. It's so different for everybody. But there's also information. There's also new learning. There's also new skills, perhaps, for some of you, maybe even new education, going and getting a new degree for some of you even. I mean, it's just so different. I'm not saying that's for everybody. But you know, a degree doesn't happen overnight if that's the case. You have to be patient. Sometimes these page cards can be amazing as far as new information and things like that, but they can also represent a long-term trend that's starting. So you don't want to get all impatient with yourself. You want to enjoy the process and be there for the journey, be there for the process. And what's most important, I think, about this reading is where you're coming from. The Emperor and the Ace of Cups means you are all powerful in your life, and sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we forget that it's not only okay, but it's mandatory that we take up our throne as emperors. We have got to be seated in our throne. We have got to be, have the crown and the scepter, so that we can lead properly. And where you're leading is amazing. You're the leader. And where you're leading is amazing. You are on quite for most of you, I think it's a spiritual journey. And this Ace of Cups being the spiritual journey, a lot of people think, oh, spiritual, I need money, or but I want to have a boyfriend, this cup holds all of it. This spirit is everything. Everything starts as spirit. Cups are like water. If you filled this up with water and you poured the water out on this table, it'd go everywhere. And that's symbolic of the fact that everything that's in this cup encompasses every aspect of your life. So that spiritual journey that you're on is wonderful and so important. And remind yourself, it's not just something you did in the past, it's something you are in the present. So don't allow your ego to take over your throne. Instead, you want to notice when that tries to happen. You want to notice when that sort of insurrection happens in your mind. And you want to say, okay, I acknowledge you and I'm disregarding you. I acknowledge you and I'm unhooking from you. I'm not reacting. I'm not responding to this. I'm not being reactive one bit. And that unseats that King of Swords, because it's like I said, that's the one thing it can't handle. That is your peace, is your love, is your recommitting yourself to your spiritual path. And looking at it and disengaging from it gives you back your power. And then you can get back onto this path, which, like I said, may take a while for you to get some of these things done that you want to do. But the journey is going to be so satisfying, and you don't want to rush through one little bit of it. There's no reason to want to rush through it, because it's going to be great. The destination is going to be great, but it's not going to be as great as the journey. So don't try to think that rushing is the way. It's all perfect just the way it is. Remind yourself frequently to disengage actively from this King of Swords experience so that you can take back your mantle. You can take back your throne. You can re-establish yourself as the leader and the emperor in this very powerful empire that is your life. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you to the amazing moderators, Suzanne and Diane. We will see you in 2 weeks, Scorpio. Much love and many, many blessings.